Welcome to the Ziabo Studio Buzz podcast. My name is Doug, and this is a podcast about knitting mainly. So I'm so glad that you're here. I've been away for pretty much 3 weeks. I want to say roughly. I've been traveling with my husband. We've made it to Colorado, Wyoming, South Dakota, back to Wyoming with a loop through Montana, only sadly a tiny one, and ended up in Yellowstone, which was absolutely wonderful and a real highlight of our trip. I have been knitting probably a little bit less than I normally would have because since my reignited love for paper, I have for paper and fountain pens and writing, I should say. It's not just paper. I mean, I've always loved paper and I write cards and stuff, and I have my paper kind of always accessible here, but I've looked forward to keeping a thorough travel journal, and I did that. I'm very happy with that, but I have to say that it took more time than I expected, and we're a little bit hardcore with going all day and when we visit places, so it's kind of like a go thing, so there's no real breaks in between where we just sit and look at something, but we just keep going. So writing and knitting happens in the evenings, or the knitting in the car also when we go, and then in the evening the writing. And I am a lot of, yeah, most of the days I'm also tired, so I'm not gonna stay up for too long. I've knitted on this here. That's what I wanted to start with. This is the Sunshine Coast sweater by Heidi Kurmeyer. Many of you may know this because it's a very popular pattern that's been out for quite some time. It's a classy, neutral, beautiful sweater, and I've been really excited about it because I just find this so genius to have this wide band of raglan stitches, and also then to achieve an A-line with the increases by making yarn overs. I mean, I'm not giving anything away. Anybody who looks at the pattern is going to be able to see that. Another feature of the sweater is that there's no ribbing. So neckline, you can see it's rolling, doesn't bother me. I haven't blocked it, of course. I still have to finish my sleeves, start the sleeves and then finish them. But on the bottom, she suggests either to do the edge like you do it at the beginning with basically nothing, just casting off. But also she gives the alternative, if you don't like a rolling hem, to do something differently. And I thought, well, I'm going to do the medium thing. I'm going to purl one round and then I cast off. But so far this is rolling like completely crazy. Like let me put this. I thought I was going to be able to stand up and show you, but since I'm filming standing, it's not possible. So, but you can hopefully see how much this rolls up. So I've decided I'm going to wait, I'm going to block it and maybe give it a steam with either when it's wet with a towel and then the iron, or when it's dry, I put a very wet towel on top and steam it then. And then I'll see what that does and if that's going to work for me. A tiny bit of a roll, I don't mind, but it can't stay the way it is right now. And if that's what it's going to be, I will rip back, and I'm also not going to weave in that last end, and then I would rip back and do what Heidi Kurmeyer suggests for an edge that doesn't roll. Yep. In the meantime, very happy with the color. I think it's a good color for me. I don't really, I think I have just one cardigan in this, in a similar color. And it's a one of a kind DK. I mean, it's a one of a kind colorway on my DK base Cozy. And you can see there is a slight difference, even though I was very much paying attention to hopefully not having something like this happen, because, well, and that's why I did it all in one dye bath, but it's a hand dyed yarn, and I did not do any kind of fading up here where the new skein started. I knew it was close enough to not bother me, and that's the way it is. I'm not going to worry about this. It's fine. It's yeah. What else did I want to tell you about this? I am using needles size 4, and my gauge was a little bit off, and that's why I chose to knit a larger size than I plan to actually have, and it works out fine. I mean, this is just going to be the right size. I'm curious to see how the sleeves are going to be. I have still this much yarn from, I had a total of 5 skeins. That's what I have left, and I'm gonna tackle this very soon. I just finished the bottom of this the other day. Yeah, and well, after we got home, by the way. And the other thing that I brought on the trip, there were actually 2 more things that I've worked on, and then there was one little extra bonus project. So one of them was the Larimar Shawl by Sue Berg. I've talked about this extensively in the past episodes, and because I made it larger and I'm liking the size. However, my mishap was that I am running out of yarn. I have 2 skeins. I've used up 2 skeins, and I'm not, even though I'm at the end of towards the edge, I'm definitely, of course, not going to have enough. So that's a bummer, because when I dyed up more of that color, I messed up my dyeing. I talked about it in the last episode. I thought I had dyed 2 skeins of yarn, when in fact I had written down that I had 4 skeins, that I had dyed 4 skeins at a time. And I thought, really? I normally do only 2 at a time. It's probably 2 at a time. So that's what I did. And yeah, no, I was correct. 4 skeins. And so when I dyed more yarn for the shawl, it's the same color, but it's way more intense. It's hard to show because it's just so bright. I hope you can see. 3.5 millimeter needles, and I thought, well, it's the related color. I'm just gonna finish the shawl with this more intense yellow, but my subconscious told me, no, don't do it. And so I stopped here, and I thought I'm going to do something else, and now I still think I'm not going to do it. I'm going to order more of this yarn. It was the first time that I had this, and this base, the new base, which is the honeysuckle yarn, so wonderful and luxurious. And so I will order more of it, and then I will dye more for this in the correct color and to finish it with that. Yeah, that's what I have to do. The other thing that I've knitted on is my other yellow project, of course, as you can imagine, which is the sweater that I'm making up because I just couldn't find the right pattern. So I thought I'm just gonna write my own, make it up. And because I really wanted a lace pattern going down my sleeve. I love this fabric. This is Ziawool's Dreamcatcher, and I'm using 3mm needles, and the neckline is inspired by the Il Grande Favorito by Isabel Kramer. I wanted a deep, not that deep, I wanted a deeper neckline where in the end, when I'm done, I'm going to pick up my stitches and make some ribbing and to match the bottom ribbing eventually. So I have this one, which is already almost a whole skein. It's my third one, and I have a whole other skein. So I'm not going to run out of yarn. So that's going to be good. 4 skeins reserved for this. And the colorway is Put Your Shades On. And if you have looked for this color, I have some serious shop cleaning up to do. I apologize for that because I know I kept saying this colorway is in the shop when it wasn't. Somebody contacted me and she said, "Oh, too bad, I'm too late, it's gone." And I'm like, "Huh? I see it right there in one of my Etsy bins." And I looked, and sure enough, it's not in the shop. So I don't know what went wrong because I remember taking the pictures, which was hard, as you can imagine, with a color like that. But yeah, so this is on my schedule for the coming week to do some shop cleanup and some shop updating. I know some of the beautiful spinning fibers had expired, and so I'm going to see what I'm going to relist for that. And yep, that's my to-do things after our lovely vacation. What else? Talking about the lovely vacation, I also brought, I wanted to show you this because I always love seeing what other people do how they organize their travel supplies. So this is what I brought this time. It's a bag that my friend Doris made for me. And this lady has her knitting in her bag. Isn't that cute? There's a bunch of ladies on the back too. And inside I put my DPNs in case I would get to a sleeve, and I have a smaller pouch. Actually, I think I had some, this kind of like a, with band-aids and stuff like that I used to use it for, which I don't need that much. So I thought, oh, I love this so much. It's leather on the bottom, suede, and it has the name of my old business on here. And it's a cute thing, yeah. So in here I have like a tape measure and a little pen and some stitch markers. But I brought this also because I have something special in here, because I wanted to show you this little lady here. She was gifted to me by a dear friend who knows me obviously very, very well, because she made a little Southwest girl with cowboy boots with the Zia sign. Yeah, is this crazy or what? And the cute dress with the Zia. She has a little turquoise necklace, and look at her cute hair and her cute face with the blue eyes. A scarf. And I believe that this is a pattern by Arnie and Carlos. Oh, and the cute buttons. Look at that. Mother of pearl. Oh my goodness. So I decided, I received her in the mail shortly before we left on our trip, and I thought, dang, she wants to come. She has to come. Her name is Elsie. And she, but on the day when we left, we had the last 2 days kind of like, we had a brutal drop in temperature. Like it went from 100 to snow in northern New Mexico. So I thought last minute, I'm just going to take some wool to make a coat for her. And that's what I did. And I just made it up. I used to, I'm kind of like, I used to make doll clothes for my daughter's dolls. And so it's kind of like, it was not really a super big deal. And that it never is when you knit top down. But then it got warm again. So I never blocked and completely finished this little coat, but I still brought it to show you. It still needs buttons and it needs a blocking, but it fits her perfectly. And when it's completely done with all the finishing, I will show you Elsie with her little green coat. It's made with hand spun yarn, and I believe I used 3.5 millimeter needles. And this was yarn that I showed you a few episodes back. It was spun from a drum carded bat. Green and gray fibers. That's how you get this beautiful variation. Look at that. I hope you can see. Yeah, so that's Elsie's coat. Put that here with her. So I did something else that, I cannot even tell you how hard that was for me. But you have seen the top before that I have crocheted for my niece in Germany, and with good reason. I thought that it's probably the best idea to not weave in the ends as I go, because then I can actually pull together these holes that are created, with when you change colors. And up here I've woven in the ends already, and you can see that it works, of course. But the amount of ends, oh, I'm so tired of weaving in the ends. So one evening I stuck with it until I got to this point, and then I'm like, I need to do something else. Because of course, as you can imagine, at every strap, at the beginning of every strap and the inner neckline here, there were ends, several of them. All 4 straps. And I did, thankfully, I'm glad that this fits right, or I wouldn't have woven in the ends. A few weeks ago, I had my daughter try it on to see how it is, and it looks great on her. So hopefully my niece is going to like it and appreciate the work. I mean, the crochet itself is no big deal. I feel like the weaving in of these ends is worse than making that whole thing. If I ever do that again, I'm going to have to figure out something else, or I have to just make it out of one color only. Yeah. This is the crochet top and the crazy story of all the 100,000 ends. to weave in. My next projects live in this beautiful bag, which was also a gift from a friend, and it's so cute. Look at that sheep. And here it says dogs. Oh, oops, can you see? So cute. So I'm using this for a hat. And you're going to say, what? This is giant. Yes, it's giant because it has all kinds of stuff in it. So this is the yarn that I'm using for the hat. It was a yarn which I really think is absolutely gorgeous. And I was thinking about adding it to the shop. It's very soft. But there was a problem, and that's why I have all these mini skeins. There were joins that were absolutely unacceptable in the skeins, and I would not want to sell this in the shop. Well, doesn't matter. So it fell through, but it's still a beautiful yarn, and it's very soft. It's merino, and so I decided to use this blue test dye here for a hat, and this is the 4.5 millimeter needles, and as recommended in the pattern, and it's the hat called Stairway to Heaven. It's a beautiful pattern. I really like the way it looks like, but way too tight for me. Yeah, I mean, you know how much I like you, but I'm not going to put that on, not even for you. It looks horrible on me. Way too tight. So it's going to find a new home eventually. I will finish it, and then it will move on to a place where it fits. Fabric is pretty though. So I have to wind another skein here to be able to finish, because that won't do. And in the meantime, I have started a pink version. I went up one needle size. So I'm the main part of the hat I'm now doing with 5 millimeter needles. And this is extremely soft yarn. I'm holding two together. One of them is, I think this is a Knit Picks yarn. Either it was a pale pink or a white that I over dyed a long time ago. Long. I probably wanted to make something for my daughter with it, and then for some reason it fell through. Maybe because at some point she completely changed her taste and now wears nothing but gray, white, and black, and wouldn't be caught dead in pink. So that was one part, and I'm holding it with this yarn, which is supposedly a fingering, but honestly I don't think so. This is a little bit heavier for sure. And I picked this up in Taos at the Wool Festival. And I've always bought quite a bit of yarn from this booth, because more than I needed, because they always had the most gorgeous skeins marked down so brutally that I thought, well, I could go for this. Gotta get some. Always good for what's the word? Well, when you feel like you get a good deal. Yes, for a deal. Yes. So the alpaca, this is 100% alpaca. some of the ones that I have are alpaca silk, but extremely soft. And this is from Enchanted Fiber Guild. They're not coming to Taos anymore, but this year, of course, no Taos Wool Festival anyways. And it's a 200 yard, 3.2 ounce skein. And the fibers come from these guys. Yeah. It's a really super soft and sweet yarn, and the hat will be very soft and cozy. The funny thing is, I have to tell you that I'm making the hats for a knit along with a group of German knitters in a German podcaster group. So I picked this pink, and then I thought, well, I'm going to go up a needle size. It's going to be way too big. I'm going to have to alter the pattern. Then I thought, oh, that's so much trouble, and I don't know how it's all going to work out. So let's find a better yarn where I don't have to fudge around stuff. So that's when I picked the blue. I had already marked for this version. I had already marked and altered the charts before I decided on the different yarn. And now I'm so glad that I didn't start with this, because if I had, this one would also be too small. But now I know that the other one is too small, so I know that if I use the bigger needles with this one, I'm going to be fine. Yeah. Good when something bad turns into something good. I mean, anyways, like I said, the other hat is going to go to someone where it's going to fit and it's going to make them happy, so all is well. I've also brought you, and that's what I wanted to finish up with, I brought you some yarns that I got on our journey, and I went to one yarn store in Cheyenne in Wyoming, and that's where I picked up these two beauties. I want to combine them and maybe something stripy or who knows what for, but it's really so related, the two colorways, but still very, very different. This one is by Art Yarns. It's called Merino Cloud, 80%, extra fine merino, 20%, cashmere, 100 grams, 437 yards. And then this guy, that's I think 85 merino and 15 nylon, still super soft. And this is by Three Irish Girls. The colorway Marfa. Yeah, that's so fun. I didn't consciously pick it, but I've been to Marfa and it's such a cool little town. Actually, it's in Marfa where I purchased the notebook that I've used on this trip now. It's a Leuchtturm jot book that I got at the beautiful little store in the Hotel Paisano. Yeah, so funny. Huh, wonderful. And this one is Under the Sea. Colorway name. But then I need to thank my friend Christy for sending me to the Mountain Meadow Wool Mill in Buffalo, Wyoming, where I cannot even begin to tell you how much I enjoyed that place. You get a little intro by one of their employees there, and they tell you a little bit about it and about the place, and they tell you what their how they work, and they answer your questions. But then and then you can explore, and you can go up on a balcony, and where that overlooks that whole giant production area with like tons of wool in these big compressed bales. I mean, such a fascinating place where you, and would you get high from wool fumes? This is a place to pass out. I mean, you walk in there and you smell nothing but sheep. It's crazy. So intense. It doesn't bother me at all. I love it so much. So, and on that balcony also you could touch and really explore the different stages of wool production, because they had on the setup where you could touch the dirty wool, the way it gets cut off from the sheep, the next step, how it looks like when it's washed, and then carding, and then the wool. I mean, very interesting. And I love that they support their local sheep farmers. So they want to make a change. They want to help those farmers, and they also want to promote the wool as a natural material, promote those farms, and hopefully help for for the wool, the value of the wool to be more seen, maybe in a way. I just loved everything about that place. So thank you, Christy, for telling me about it. I was so glad. I probably would have missed it because I cannot. I mean, when we travel, we're so high pace that I don't always look up yarn stores. Like, I mean, the one in Cheyenne, that was fine, but Denver probably would have had something. Didn't go and look for one. This place was just simply amazing. But I wanted to show you what I got. And it is, and I hope I'm going to be fine. I feel now that I may have not gotten enough yarn, but we shall see. This is, I shopped for a colorwork sweater, and this is 1,000 yards. That's the body and the sleeves, of course. If all fails, I'm just going to make a short sleeve, maybe. I don't know. I'll see. I haven't even looked at patterns. I just guessed. And these are my complementing colors. I have to say I regret a little bit that I didn't get I should have gotten a green also, don't you think? Like some kind of an apple green, a lighter apple green would have looked fabulous with that. But whatever, it is what it is. I'm going to see how it works out. I saw that Gudrun Johnston came out with a new colorwork sweater pattern, but I think hers needs more colors for the yoke, and probably is also maybe a little bit too advanced for me, too complicated. I want to make something that I enjoy and where I don't lose my focus in between, where I still, where it's got to be fun enough to keep wanting to finish the sweater. Yeah, but the colors, I really like them. Yeah. So, and this is it for today. I wanted to thank you all for watching. For sure, thank you also so very much for the positive feedback about my new baby, the paper duck paper talk. And I've got a lot of nice comments, and it seems like a lot of you out there are also interested in paper and in writing and journaling and bullet journaling and yeah, just all of that good stuff. So I'm happy to share that with you. And yeah, that's all for today. And until I see you again in a bit, I wish you all happy knitting.